Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and today we're going to go through this lot. Basically, someone contacted me on the channel, someone that's fairly local to me, say that they had a load of old test gear that they needed to dispose of, and would I be interested in it? Obviously, it's vintage test gear, I'm going to be interested in it. So I popped round there a few days ago and picked it all up. So what I thought we'd do in this video is go through this lot, actually have a look and see what we've got and see what's working, see what's not working. Basically go through it and have a bit of an explore. Now, probably won't end up keeping all this myself because I have scopes and generators and stuff anyway, but if I'm going to pass these on to other people, it's nice to know what works and what doesn't. So I'll get the bench cleared off now, we'll get the first piece of equipment out, and we'll just go through them one by one and like I said, see what we've got. So back in a sec. Right, okay, there we go, that's the bench cleared off, and what I thought, we'll start with this. Now what we've got here, obviously it's an oscilloscope. Oh, it's a very heavy oscilloscope. Let me get you down a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. There we go, that's better, isn't it? You can actually see it now. And I've got it upside down. That's not good. All the electrons are going to drop out. Let's get it the right way up. There we go. A little bit so we can see it properly. Right, there we go, that's better, isn't it? We can all see that now. Right, so reason I'm starting with this one, believe it, this was actually the only thing in the lot that at first I couldn't actually identify, because if you look, there is no maker's name on here at all. The chap that I got it off didn't know what it was. He was asking me did I know what make and model it was, and to be honest, I don't know why, but at first I thought it might be a service scope, because I used to have a service scope that was very similar to this, with the grey and the red there, but I was thinking about the wrong thing. It wasn't a service scope, it was actually a telequipment, and that's exactly what this is. This is a telequipment D75. It's basically the same as a telequipment D83, only the D83 is kind of that way on, has a bigger CRT. The 75 was the horizontal version, and they used a smaller CRT in them. Only it's not actually even that. It is, but it isn't, if you know what I mean. This is a special version of the telequipment D75 that was sold specifically to British Telecom. This is in fact, and this is probably why there is no telequipment name on it. This is a British Telecom oscilloscope type 16A, which is basically a telequipment D75. Apart from they made one little alteration, that's the only reason I know really that this is the British Telecom version rather than the telequipment version. They added an extra little control on the back there that you could basically dim an illumination on the graticule display there. What is nice about it, this is a 50 megahertz oscilloscope. Most, of the older scopes that I've had and I've got kicking about are 10, 15, 20 megahertz maybe. This is a lot more useful as a general purpose scope, especially when you're playing about with digital stuff, old computers, things like that, because like I said, this will sample up to 50 megahertz, which is pretty much like my modern Handtech at the back there. Sometimes you really want an analog scope though, especially not so much for messing about with old computers and stuff, but if you're fiddling about with some audio stuff, some analog circuits, sometimes you want a reasonably nice, quick analog scope. Basically that's what this is. It dates from probably I think it's around about the mid-1970s. So it's all transistorized. There'll be some ICs in there as well, with no valves or anything to worry about. Basically this is exactly as I've got it. So I think first thing we want to do is see whether it works. So that's the whole point of this video at the moment, is really going through this equipment and seeing what works and what doesn't work. So we will grab the lead. There we go. The first thing we'll do is we'll just check the plug. Now these were all owned by an electrical engineer, so I'm guessing that the plug should be pretty decent, but these have been in storage for a long time, so you know, it's always worth just checking nothing's happened in the plug, that everything's nice and safe. And yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more slack on the earth, but apart from that, that doesn't look bad at all. Just make sure all the terminals are nice and tight. Yeah, well, that was a little bit loose, but it's not bad. We can quickly just check the fuse just to make sure the fuse is okay while we're here. Just go across the fuse, make sure that the fuse is intact. Yeah, the fuse is good. Tighten that back up. Get my tester out of the way. Well, a quick look on the back. Ooh. I'll tell you what, this old test gear certainly had a little bit of weight to it. That's the control I was referring to, the graticular illumination. That's not on the standard D75, that is only on the British Telecom version. Everything else looks pretty standard here. We've got voltage select there, our IEC, mains fuse there, quick blow fuse. So I can't see any reason why we can't plug this in and see what it does. We'll get that so you can see it. Get that plugged in and we'll see what happens. Okie dokie. Where is on? There is on. Has that lit up? Yep. So we've got power to it. Let's see if we can get something on the display. Now I should expect we should just get a couple of dots. It's 2-channel scope, so we should get channel 1 and channel 2. Bring intensity up. Focus. Now we don't seem to be getting any we don't seem to be getting anything up on screen so far. So I would expect to see there's a couple of dots there, but or at least something flash up when I operate some of the controls. And we're getting nothing on the screen there. No, it's definitely got power to it, because we've got our little it's not even an LED, I think it's like a little bulb behind a little green crystal there, but that's lit. I'll tell you what we could try. Let me grab an oscilloscope probe. In fact, pinch the one off my Handtech here, that should do. And let's see if we can get any life out of it. Let's go on to channel 1. Set that to ×1. I've got a couple of test points there. Cal, 1 volt peak to peak. That's for our ground there. to get anything. No. So it looks like we might have an issue with this. Oh, there's the reticule illumination. That's working. But we don't seem to be getting any trace coming out of it. So I expect to see at least a bit of flashing on the screen or something, so we might actually have a bad CRT in it, unfortunately. There's definitely something not quite right with this one. Pull to invert, does that? No, we've got no life, unfortunately. It's a little bit of a shame. Well, then again, what it means is we've got a oscilloscope repair coming up, because this is worth seeing if we can get it working. If this was a 10 megahertz scope and it was dead like this, yeah, I don't know whether I personally bother trying to fix it. I'd probably just pass it on to someone as a faulty scope for them to play with. But with the fact that it's 50 megahertz, it's dual, you know, it's a dual trace scope, it's dual channel scope. It is really actually quite nice. I think we'll be having a little bit of a play and see if we can possibly get this this to function. Yeah, there's absolutely no signs of life there, apart from, like I said, the initial light there, which has come on to tell us that it's switched on. No, we're not getting anything at all there. That's a bit of a shame, but at least we've got a really cool scope to have a play with in the future. I'll just shut that off and I'll pull this off the desk and I'll get the next piece on and we can have a look at that. So back in a sec. Right, okay, we're back. I've got everything cleared off, so I thought the next thing we'll have a look at, ooh, and I've got two of them, are these. Now what we've got here, apart from some really nice pair of test leads, and these are super nice. Silicon cable and nice and long, so those are awesome anyway, even with a couple of croc clips on the end, but just those leads are so useful to have. And they are safety leads if you look. Basically you can't electrocute yourself unless you're really stupid, because they have these little, so those are incredibly nice test leads and hookup leads. But what we've got here, these are Hewlett-Packard, and the model number is a 34740A DC voltmeters, and these are basically precision voltmeters. It's not a full multimeter or anything. All these do is display voltage, but they do it very accurately. Really nice little unit. Little stand to hold them up like that. And what these are handy for, these are great. One thing for just checking that your bench PSU is actually giving out the voltages that it's meant to be doing. Great for testing power supplies and things like that. Just make sure that the rails are actually spot on what they're actually meant to be giving out. But these have got quite a range on them. They can basically range from 1 volt to 1000 volts. So basically everything that I play with, from tiny little transistor radios up to, you know, push-pull valve amplifiers, computers, anything like that. If it needs, you need to check a precision DC voltage, these are absolutely great for it. You know, say you was reforming capacitors or something like that, and you want to just monitor the HT as you bring the HT up. Something like this is absolutely brilliant for it. Again, don't know what actual physical condition they're in. I believe the chap said one of these was being used at one point, I think with conditioning some batteries or something like that. So let us see whether they are going to work or not. Now we don't have much to actually check before we plug them in. We've got a standard IEC on the back there. I've already unplugged the IEC from my scope here, so we can use that for powering them up. and we will use my little micro reg 0 to 25 volt power supply, which is just off shot there, to give us an input voltage so we can actually see whether these are going to work. We can't test everything on them obviously because it only goes up to 25 volts, but we can certainly test the first two ranges on there, make sure that it's doing what it's meant to be doing. I'll put the little stand up so you can see the screen a little bit better, and we will plug the first one in. Oops. Is that the right way up? Yeah. Right, there we go. It's got some power up it. Let's see what happens when we just switch it on. Oh, that's a really... I'm guessing these are about the same age, you know, we're talking probably mid-1970s, that kind of era on these. Now, I don't know if that is... Let's set it down to 1 volt. In fact, let's set it to, say, 100 volts. That should be a sensible thing to have it on. And we'll plug this in. I can unplug that, and that can go straight into the front of my bench supply. Plug that in there. Plug that into the other side of my bench supply. Let's set the. I'm going to set the bench supply for, say, 10 volts. We'll try. Look at that. I don't like it at. If I can set that to 100, it's saying 10.34. Which is pretty much bang on. It's an old analog supply, so you can't just punch a value in, but that's pretty accurate. Let's take that up to, say, 20 volts on the thing, and let's see what that comes up to on here. We've got at 20 volts on the bench supply, that's showing 1904. Now I do know that that bench supply does underread ever so slightly, so that's probably about right. Let's try something really small. Let's go down to 1 volt. I've got the bench supply basically on 0 there. I'm just going 0.0. Let's bring it up a tiny touch. This thing can literally measure, you know, under a volt. There we go. It's just gone over 1 volt. There we go, just under 1 volt there. So that does indeed seem to be. In fact, let's go to the 10 volt scale, and I'll put the bench supply on 5 volts. Now that doesn't seem to be working. I wonder if we've got a bit of a... Yeah, I think we've got perhaps some bad contacts, because that should be showing about 5 volts there, and it's not doing. We're going to 100. Yeah, we're going to the 100 volt scale. As you can see, it's actually showing it's 5 volts. If I go on to the 10 volt scale, oh, there we go. So I think we've just got a little bit of we'll have to open these up, give all the switches a shot of some switch cleaner, work them backwards and forwards, because I think there's some slightly bad, yeah, it's done it again there. There's some slightly bad connections in the switch blocks. So if I go on to the 100 volt scale there, we are showing the 5 volts. If I go on to the 10 volt scale, it's not registering properly. So again, that one's going to need a little bit of repair work, but that's certainly going to be fixable. I think it is just, yeah, because if you fiddle about with the switch, you can get it to work right. Let's have a go at the other one. let's unplug that one. And again, this one is identical, same model number and everything. We'll get this plugged in and we'll see if this is going to work on everything, or this one's going to need a little bit of love as well. We'll get our things. Let's just try it, switching it on, and we have. Right, well, this one has got a iffy. It's got an iffy power switch on it. If I hold the power switch in, it is powering up. As soon as I let go, it shuts off again. Let's see if we can get some. I've still got the bench supply set to 5 volts. We'll set that to the 10 volts range there. I will hold down the button. We've got some iffy switches and it doesn't actually seem to be adjusting the voltage scale there. Ah, there we go. It's just starting. Yeah, we've got the 5 volts there. But again, it's very unstable. These were stored in a garage for a long time, which I'm guessing is probably most of what's wrong with them. It's just going to be corrosion on the contacts inside. Because you can see as I hold that in, it's showing a little bit high there at 5.4 volts. That should be showing closer to 5 volts, but actually, it's nearly kind of working now after messing about with the switch a little bit. But I think that's probably all that's wrong with them. Is these switches have got a little bit gummed up, you know, over time. Like I said, these have been stored for quite some time, I believe, in a damp garage. So yeah, we've got an iffy power switch on it, and we've got an iffy selection bank there. But these are awesome little pieces of kit. Well worth spending a little bit of time doing some lubrication and some cleaning on them to get them fully up and running. So awesome. So again, I will just quickly pause the video and I will go and get, because my room is getting very cluttered here, so I want to kind of shove them out to one side. I will go and get the next piece of kit and we can have a quick look at that. So back in a sec. Right, okay, next up we have, oh, and this is a heavy one, we have this. And what we've got here, apart from it being the wrong way around, let's turn it the right way around so you can see the front of it. What we've got here, I'll take the front off, is basically this is a RF AM only signal generator. Now this is a Wendel and Gottemann, Germany. Interestingly, it actually says made in the UK on it. So whether this is a licensed thing, I don't know. It also has a British Telecom calibration sticker on there, which has been broken, so someone's been inside it. I do have quite a lot of AM only RF signal generators, although this is quite a nice one. We've got mains input on it there, but I believe, judging by this control, it's also a battery one. You've got off, you've got a battery check, then you've got a charge, so it obviously uses rechargeable batteries. Maybe worth having a quick look inside it if that's the case, just to make sure it hasn't got any leaking batteries in there. And then we've obviously got mains power on it there as well. I'm actually tempted just to have a quick peek inside this before we try plugging it in. I think we can get the front off with these 4 screws, just to make sure we haven't got any leaking batteries inside it before we actually power it up. Now I think this is a little bit earlier than the other piece of piece of equipment. I think this is very, very late 60s or very, very early 70s as well. I think most of the other stuff we've looked at is probably like mid 70s. Okay, let us see if we've got any horrors inside or not. No, in fact that looks really, really good. We've got some capacitors here which are looking a little bit tired. I can see some green spew on that electrolytic there. That one looks okay, although again there's a little bit of something on the end of that electrolytic there. It doesn't look too bad. It doesn't look bad enough that make me not want to power this thing up anyway. I'm guessing that is the connection to the rechargeable battery now. It looks like, fortunately, someone has removed the battery pack. I'll put that back in. There we go. And we'll whack the screws back in, and we'll just quick check. But it does look like someone's already possibly removed the battery pack from it, which is good. Because old NiCads and lead acid batteries after many years do tend to leak, and they have destroyed a lot of nice old equipment over the years. It's not just in our vintage computers that they cause issues, it's in all equipment of an age if it had rechargeable batteries in it. So they do have a tendency to leak over time and basically either damage the equipment or ruin it completely. Right, there we go. We've got, I guess this is the battery compartment on the bottom. We'll just double check, make sure there isn't an old leaking battery in there. I don't think so. I think it's been removed already. We better check while we're here. Yeah, excellent. So it looks like it uses, is it 3 D-cell rechargeable batteries. So that is actually quite nice. If I did want to use this on batteries, it wouldn't be a major issue. You know, find something that could fit in. I don't think you can get NiCads anymore, but, well, not officially anyway. I'm sure they are still available. It's a bit tight, that battery door, but then again, there's not that many reasons why you'd really want to run something like this on batteries nowadays. I mean, that would have been because it'd be used perhaps out in field use or something like that, where perhaps you don't have a mains source as well. For the type of repairs that I do, it will just be sat on the workbench. But no, nice and clean inside. We do have a couple of electrolytics that look like they're starting to go, but they're not bad enough to that I wouldn't try and power this thing up. Right. Unfortunately, what it doesn't have, it would have come with a load of accessories in here that plug in, and we don't have any of them. But we still might be able to get something out of it. What I'm going to do, I've got just a crappy old AM/FM radio here. So we'll set that to AM, and it's got a long throw-out piece of wire for its aerial. I guess it'll have a ferrite aerial inside it, but this should be able to capacitive couple enough. I mean, this is the FM aerial, but it'll go somewhere inside close enough. I'm hoping we might just be able to capacitive couple and get a little bit of a signal out of this thing, see if it does anything. We should be able to like tune into the IF frequency of the AM band on here and be able to pick it up. So that's indeed if this thing is working at all. Let's plug it in. I've got it off there. I'll put some power up it. Let's switch this radio. We'll just leave it on a dead channel. We've got a bit of a flick on the meter there. Right, let's put it to somewhere about where I think it's probably going to have its IF around the 450 mark. Let's have a quick look. Turn the gain right up because, like I said, we're not connecting it properly. We're just seeing if we can perhaps get something coming out of it. So expect to get a duff. Ah! So it's got like a reset there that's a little bit on the iffy side. We've got plenty coming out there. Let's try. Plugging a lead into one of the outputs. We'll trail that over the radio. I expect to find something around about 450 kilohertz. We're not getting anything. I'm maxing that out so it's on maximum output. I don't seem to be getting anything. It won't be all the way up there. That's right, it'll do up to about 600 and odd kilohertz this. But around the 450. I don't see what we're getting a tone through. Try. Now. Now it could literally be that we're not getting enough signal coming through because we're not using the right termination on the end of that. But with all other like RF signal generators I've messed with, you can usually get something out of them doing it like this. So I'm guessing there may be an issue with this. And we do know we've got a few capacitors inside it which are looking a little bit on the tired side. Nope. So I was hoping to find something coming out of it, but it looks like we may in fact have an issue with this. Oh well. Looks like we may have another piece of kit that we can have a look at and see if we can actually get it working. Yeah, at the moment we're not really getting anything. In fact, let's just try. No. Just make sure we have that set right. No, there's nothing there. I don't think this thing's outputting. It could just be that we've not got the right leads and we're not getting enough output to couple across to the radio, but I'd have found that very unlikely. So I think we do possibly have a fault with this. We're certainly getting power to it because you can see the meter come up when I switch off. You know, it drops down, but we don't seem to be getting any output from it. Oh well. So it just means we've got something else in the future to possibly have a play with. Yeah, we've got nothing coming out of that one. Right. We'll shut off. I'll shut that radio off. I'll get this cleared away and we will have a look at the next item. So back in a sec. Right, okay, and next up on the bench, ooh, and this is another heavy one. Oh, we have got another oscilloscope. This one's kind of cool. What we've got here, we get the stand up so we can see it a little bit better. We've got a Tektronix. Get the cover off it, and this is in really nice condition. If I can get the top off. There we go. Right, okay, there we are. So this is a Tektronix T912. Now it's only a 10 megahertz scope, but this is what's known as a storage scope. So basically you can store a trace in here and then recall it back. Now I very much doubt that the storage facility on this will still work from past experiences of old 1970s scopes, and this is I think mid 1970s again, a bit like a lot of the other equipment that I got. Just the way that the storage actually worked on these, I think degrades over the amount of time it's used and stuff, and ones I've had in the past that have had the storage function on them, it's never ever really worked or worked properly. But anyway, one really cool thing with this one, have a look at the back, we actually have some documentation of some kind. The data sheet for the little plastic front protector. I wonder if that got lost and someone bought a new one and they sent the data sheet with it. But I've actually got the test probes with it. Now Tektronix stuff, from what I've played with in the past, does tend to like its own Tektronix oscilloscope probes. In fact, that's a really nice oscilloscope probe with a nice long lead on it. So let's see if this one's got any life in it. I've got the scope probe out there. Let's give it some power. We'll plug it in now. Where's on this? That's intensity, focus. Where is our on? It's 2-channel scope. We've got channel 1, channel 2 or both. No. There are couplings. Where is the on button? Ah, there. And it has powered up. Now, are we going to get anything on the screen? That is the question. Because the other one we had powered up. Let's hit the beam finder. But we had no sign of, that's the store function. That's a raise for the store. We had no trace on the screen. So quick look at position. And again, it's looking like we have no signs of life. So I would expect us to get a couple of traces on the screen there. Focus is nearly all the way up, intensity is all the way up. No, we don't seem to be getting anything. So it looks like we may have another another repair candidate here. Let's try plugging a probe in. Well, it doesn't. Our probe is just there, so we do have a test point we can try. See if we can get anything out of it if we hit the test point. Nope. Nothing. Nope, we seem to have absolutely no signs of life apart from just the power illumination there. So unfortunately it's exactly like the other one we've got. So we've got another piece of kit we can do a potential repair on. If it was any other just 10 megahertz oscilloscope, I probably wouldn't be that minded about trying to fix it. But it's a Tektronix, it's actually really nice, it's really complete with having all the probes and everything and still having the front cover. And for a lot of things it is still a useful scope. I mean, if you don't need the high sampling of like a 50 meg scope, 100 meg scope, if all you're doing is messing about with basic stuff, great scope. It'd be a good scope to learn on, to be honest, something like that. So looks like we'll be having a look at seeing if we can possibly repair this one as well. Right, I will get this off the bench and we'll get to the last thing, so back in a sec. Right, okay, let's get to the last thing that I got in the lot. Ooh, I'm really pleased to get this actually. What we've got here, ooh, let me get the stand up. I think it's got a stand on it. Yes, it has. This is a Raycol Dyna 9081, and we have got another signal generator here, another frequency generator. Really cool thing about this one, this is an AM/FM signal generator. I have one more AM/FM signal generator. All the other ones I've got are AM only. The trouble with the other one I've got is that's also faulty. It's a really nice Hewlett-Packard one. It's actually exactly the same model as Shango uses. I got it off my mate Steve, and the main fault with it is tantalum capacitors. It's got a lot of failed tantalum capacitors in it. Unfortunately, it's got one other fault. It has a digital keypad on the front for inputting the frequencies, and that keypad's actually been damaged, and a lot of the controls are actually iffy on it. And although I can change all the tantalum capacitors in it and get it working from that respect, until I can figure out what I can do with that little keypad, and that keypad's very much of the same ilk as what you find on like early HP computers and the keyboards in them. It seems to use the same kind of technology, and it doesn't look very easy to try and repair, put it that way. So I'll have to try and see if I can come up with something to replace it with. But this basically does exactly the same kind of thing. It's just this is a little bit more basic, as in it's not as quite as computer controlled as the Hewlett-Packard one that I've got. Unfortunately, it does use exactly the same 50 ohm output termination there, which I don't think I have got a connector for. So I will have to see if I can find a connector so I can make a coax up to be able to get an output from that. But we should still be able to get something possibly out from the AM output on this, and see if we can get that that radio I was messing with before, and see if we can get it to output something to that. Get that radio. In fact, let's put some power up it and see if it actually comes up first. So I have got my IEC lead. Plug that in. Let's see if we get any signs of life out of it. Well, it's come on at least. Oh, and it's immediately gone off. Yeah. Right, okay, so again, we've got something that's obviously got issues. Now, I'm not actually getting a smell off it, but it does seem to have possibly blown a fuse or something like that. In fact, let's just have a quick... I'll unplug the power there. We'll quickly flip it round and we'll just quickly check the fuse. If it has blown the fuse, we're not going to go any further until we can actually get in this thing and then start diagnosing what's wrong with it. I'll quickly just pop the fuse out. And yep, I can tell straight away it's blown the fuse. Yeah, it has just softly melted as well. It's not, you know, if you look there, you can see it doesn't look blackened or anything. It has just melted the fuse inside. So it could be simple as a shorted capacitor on the smoothing side or something like that, which would cause an obviously an overcurrent, that's exactly what that fuse is there designed to save from. So yeah, we've got yet another piece of equipment that's going to need some repair work. I've just noticed there's a bit of like corrosion on top, so I wonder if a bit of water's got on this at some point. Like I said, they were stored in a garage. It weren't like a particularly damp garage or anything, but years of that kind of storage doesn't do this kind of equipment any good, unfortunately. It does tend to you know, fail capacitors and fuses and basically anything that can be susceptible to damp. Even little bits of damp. Nothing seems seized on it or anything like that. And we did initially see a little bit of sign of life on it, just not for very long. So yeah, we've got another piece of equipment which we can do a proper repair video on. What I will do before I do any of that is I'll see if I can get some service manuals and some operations manuals for some of this equipment. Some of it I know should be fairly easy to get manuals for, like the Tektronix scope. That shouldn't be a problem to get a manual for. I already know that there's one available for that the other scope, the telequipment scope, because when I was trying to find out what that was, I found the services and operations manual for it. Again, this, with it being a Raycall like that, I can't see any problem for me to find a service manual for it. And things like them little HP, where have I put one of them? Oh, there's one. These little HP voltmeters, which are really nice and cool. I'm pretty certain I should be able to find some service data for them, but to be totally honest, I don't think I really need it for them. it's just as simple as, you know, bad contacts on the switches and things like that, and that should make them work, you know, just as good as, because we was getting a measurable voltage on them. We just had issues like, you know, the switches weren't reliable. One of them, obviously, the power switch wasn't reliable on it. That's easy things to fix. Hopefully something like this, it's just going to be, you know, some dried up capacitors perhaps in the power supply section that's caused that fuse to go like that. When we can sort them out, hopefully we can get that one working. The scopes might be a little bit more fun. I've never really liked repairing oscilloscopes, but then again, sometimes when I've tried to fix them I haven't had service data from them and I've been going in a little bit blind, as where I know for that tele-equipment one I can definitely get the manual for, and I'm pretty sure I should be able to get a service manual for that Tektronix scope as well. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. This wasn't, like I say, it wasn't going to be a repair video or anything. It was just a quick show you what I have been donated, and just see, you know, what state they were in initially from an initial power up, and just see if anything did work straight off the box out of the bag, or whether we was going to have to do some repair work to it. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that little video. There will be hopefully another video coming soon back on that acorn in which I'm trying to do the corrosion repair on, and we can get that back in the back up and running, and then get back on with that acorn A3000, because that 2.5 inch IDE lead one about that long has finally arrived. So I would really like to have another play with that and see if we can get that hard drive to spin up. And I got a only cheap off eBay, but I picked up a pack of old shareware and magazine cover discs for the Acorn Archimedes, because I don't have a lot of Acorn Archimedes software. I know I've got some stuff on the A7000's hard drive, and I'm pretty sure there's some stuff on that A3000's hard drive if we can get that working again. But there's some cool stuff on these cover discs, that's why I grabbed them. You know, some like Lemmings demos and other various bits and bats on there that we can have a play with. But anyway, that's in an upcoming video. So I'll say, hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching and goodbye.